So it is true, we do have some good news, and it is one of the biggest issues that the world is currently facing at this time. The good news is it could potentially be coming to an end. Now, I know for me personally, I am ready to see this happen. Now, we are going to talk about this. We're going to talk about both the good news and the bad news in today's video, and also what is coming out right now. But first, all I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and we'll continue. So, what is going on right now? And how is this both good news and bad news? Well, according to President Biden this morning, he says he is going to have a call with Speaker Kevin McCarthy about the debt ceiling. Yes, the biggest issue in the world today is the debt ceiling in the United States. That's according to multiple reports. Why? Because that is all the G7 wanted to talk about. They all wanted to talk about the debt ceiling. Is the United States going to default? Are we going to breach the debt ceiling? Are we going to increase it? What is going to happen? Because this is going to have a massive impact on the world's economy, not just the U.S. economy. Now, President Biden made it very clear this morning that he will not accept the GOP proposal that they put forward to keep spending at 2022 levels. He says that's unacceptable. He did go on and say that he's open to some of their requests, which honestly is not sitting so well with hardlining Democrats. Now, we will get to more of the specifics in just one moment. First, I want to let you know and explain where we are currently at in this entire negotiation process. We have until June 1st to come to an agreement. As of right now, they're still a little ways apart. At this point, the U.S., again, starting after June 1st, the U.S. may run out of money. We don't know for sure, but I don't anticipate we are running out of money on June 1st. I don't think that is the X date. I think that is a rough calculation. But even if we don't actually default, the problem is it's going to put a strain on markets, and it's going to cause panic all over the world. So this is why lawmakers are hoping to get a deal done before June 1st. Now, here's what's going on, and this is where negotiations are at right now. So Speaker Kevin McCarthy, he's accusing the White House of backtracking. The White House says, no, we're not backtracking. This is just where we stand. President Biden, as of today, is hoping that Speaker Kevin McCarthy is just wanting to negotiate with him directly. He doesn't know for sure, and this could be the case, but that's what he's hoping. We also know the GOP have already turned down the White House's offer to freeze government spending at 2024 levels. Yeah. Okay? We're at 2023 levels, excuse me. So here's something that you need to keep in mind. That right now, what we are seeing is that the White House wants to, they're open to freezing spending, but freeze spending at this year's levels. So for 2024, we would just continue on with the exact same funding. But according to the GOP, they say that's unacceptable because it is too much. Now, President Biden is also alluding to the fact that he could invoke the 14th Amendment. And that's interesting because as of right now, we don't know the legalities of it, whether or not he can actually do this. So, this is where we're starting to get a little more of the details regarding the negotiation. For example, here's another one. The GOP says they want all the unspent COVID funding returned. They argue that this funding was to help pay for the national emergency. We went through that. We are now out of it. There's no national emergency, so all that money should come back. But they say, again, if the money was passed because of the emergency, the money should be returned once the emergency ends. Well, this is where states are now coming out and saying that, hey, hold up a minute. Like, we could still use this money. We are still feeling the impact of the pandemic. They're saying that we shouldn't have to return the money now because this is going to leave our state vulnerable in the event of another emergency. And that's where the GOP is saying, well, it doesn't matter. This money was set aside for that specific emergency, not for any emergency. So because of that, you should return the money. Well, this is where Democratic hardliners are saying, no, that should not be the case. The state should be able to do with that money whatever they wish. And this is where President Biden is now coming out and saying that he kind of agrees that, yes, he is open to the idea of returning some of the money, which could be about $100 billion. And if we return about $100 billion, that could actually keep us from hitting that deficit much sooner. So we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about this freeze and what is currently being discussed. So as far as the freeze in spending, Republicans want to freeze spending at 2022 levels. The White House says, no, that's a non-starter. The White House comes back and says that they want to freeze spending at 2023 levels, and the GOP says no. So what negotiators are fighting over right now is how the budget would be frozen. Because here's what experts are now telling us, that as of Friday night, the offer was on the table was to freeze defense and non-defense discretionary spending at 2023 levels. However, Speaker Kevin McCarthy came out and said that he wanted to see a decrease in non-defense spending. Not defense spending, non-defense spending. So we could see this be frozen to 2023 levels, but it could be just all non-defense spending. We could also see it be frozen to 2022 levels, 2022 levels. However, that would include defense spending and some non-defense spending. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But we do know that freezing the budget at 2022 levels is going to be difficult, and it's because reports are indicating that right now neither party wants to compromise. They want to stick with their specific agenda. That's it. Some believe if we go to 2022 levels, it will be acceptable by some, but it's not going to have a lot of bipartisan support. So that's where we could be in a little bit of a sticky situation. The final thing, the 14th Amendment. President Biden said, and I quote, "I can't guarantee that they wouldn't force a default. And as a result, he needs to have another option. And as of right now, it is to invoke the 14th Amendment." Because President Biden also stated that he believes he has the authority to invoke the 14th Amendment in this case. But he also went on to state, and I quote, "The question is, could it be done and invoked in time that it would not be appealed as a consequence past the date in question?" That's what we don't know. I wish I could give you a better answer and tell you that he has the authority to invoke the 14th Amendment in this case, but honestly, nobody knows. Nobody has the answers as of right now, but the good news is they are working towards a solution. The solution, though, I don't know who it's going to favor. We will see in the near future, and as we get more information, I promise I'll come back and I will share all the latest news and updates. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.